Oh hi, didn't see you there. I was just brushing up on my history knowledge. I just finished the chapter on the Reconquista of Spain. Want to hear? The story starts in the year 711, when the Moorish Empire, a large empire which spanned all across of northern Africa, stretching all the way to the Middle East, led by the general Tariq ibn Ziyad, invaded modern-day Spain and Portugal, a place which at the time consisted of 11 separate kingdoms, which would later turn into the modern-day provinces of Spain and the country of Portugal. After the invasion, which expanded from the south, a lot of land was taken and called Al-Andalus, a name which would eventually turn into the current region of Andalusia in Spain. During their 900-year-long stay in Spain, they influenced greatly in a lot of aspects of Spanish lives, like food, architecture and language, with a whopping 17% of Spanish words deriving from or having Arabic influence. The architecture popularized by the Muslim occupants during this time are still very clear, especially in the 8 modern-day provinces which make up the region of Andalusia. Wow. Anyways, back to the war at hand. 500 years have passed, and thanks to the Kingdom of Asturias' efforts, the Kingdom of Al-Andalus has been greatly pushed back down to the south. In 1035, the Kingdom of Aragon is established, and in 1118, the King Alfonso of Aragon takes the Moorish capital, Zaragoza. Later, thanks to the Treaty of Cazorla, the King Alfonso II of Aragon and the King of Castilla Alfonso VIII would join forces in their efforts to drive out the Moorish Empire from Spain. In 1246, the Kingdom of Granada was founded and was the last area of Spain still under Muslim control. While violence and riots against Jewish individuals in Spain wasn't uncommon at all, in 1391, in the Kingdom of Castilla, 4,000 Jewish people killed in a single night. This original attack in a city in Castilla led to 70 other cities breaking out into large riots. The riots spread to Aragon, where a further 11,000 Jewish people converted to Christianity out of fear. In total, this outbreak of murder and hatred resulted in around 200,000 Jewish converts. Elsewhere in Spain, the city of Toledo was renowned as La Ciudad de las Tres Culturas, or the City of the Three Cultures, a place where Christian, Muslim and Jewish people lived in an uneasy harmony. The city was, and still is, known as the religious capital in Spain, and during this time, the Arabic speakers would be given good work, and Arabic works previously unknown or hard to come across in Europe would be translated on a large scale and shared. The uneasy part was in remarks to the Juderia, or what is now known as the Jewish ghettos, a small part in Toledo where the Jewish citizens would be forced to live in. As part of the research for this video, me and my family travelled to Toledo to see this important part of history for ourselves. Here's a picture of my dad on the bottom right, next to a beautiful sculpture of Jesus on the top left. While there, we were amazed at how much Arabic influence there was on the architecture. And while the signs weren't 600 years old and authentic, the Jewish ghettos' signs were still stapled on almost every corner of the city. Uh-oh, what's that I hear? Well, if it isn't the marriage between our two favourite second cousins, Isabella de Castilla and Ferdinand of Aragon. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but they're cousins, that's weird. Grow up. The Pope, Sixtus IV, said it was okay, okay? While they were in power, they got up to a lot of tomfoolery. Like when they... What is that? Who's building something? Ruh-roh. In the newlywed couple's infinite wisdom, in 1477, they decided to build a giant, extra-large, mega jumbo-sized monastery in the middle of the already small Jewish ghetto, coincidentally towering over all 5 of the synagogues there at the time, a move which most people with half a brain understand was to further show dominance above anyone they didn't like. El Monasterio de San Juan de los Reyes was built to commemorate a battle of Toro. Now the Sephardic Jews had been removed from the country, and the economy was all the worse for it, King Philip II of Spain decided that it was time to remove all Muslim influence from the country as well. This attack started with the government sending out a commission which would claim almost exclusively Muslim-owned land. It later developed into the banning of Muslim names, Arabic language and Arabic clothing in a decree sent out in 1567, and then went on to destroying mosques in the country. This started a 2-year-long war, with a total of around 46,000 soldiers. The rebel side was backed by the Ottoman Empire, and the Spanish side was backed by the Spanish army. The war ended with Spain winning, and in a final attempt to allow the Muslim people to assimilate into Christian society, it was separated and sent to regions in Castilla. In 1609, King Philip III of Spain officially declared the expulsion of Muslim people. This lasted until 1614, with between 275 and 300,000 people being removed from the country by boat and taken to parts of northern Africa, in modern-day Morocco and Tunisia. This led to a significant damage to the economy of southern areas of Spain, which heavily relied on the cheap labour and rent from the people of Muslim descent which had been kicked out, as well as agricultural outputs falling dramatically. During this mass expulsion, children under 7 would not have to be taken. They could stay in Spain and grow up in Christian families. Afterwards, it is estimated that 20 to 40,000 people returned to Spain, with the actual expulsion only being about 40% effective. 401 years later, the Spanish government decided to return citizenship to the people who were of Sephardic descent. All they had to do was prove their 600-year-old ancestral ties, which could easily stretch over 26 generations. Shock horror! It didn't work. Out of 34,000 accepted applications, 17,000 weren't even acknowledged, and 3,000 were denied. The law lasted 4 years and was removed in 2019, with no new applications being read. Portugal still has this law in place, although it suffers from the same issues as Spain, given that it's incredibly hard to prove an ancestry from hundreds of years ago. In the modern world, Islamophobia and anti-Semitism isn't hard to come by at all. Across Europe and America, racist or far-right political parties openly hate and oppress minorities and actively stop refugees from Muslim countries. PiS, the reigning political party in Poland until very recently, for example, accepted no refugees from Muslim countries for that exact reason. The Brothers of Italy party, or Fratelli d'Italia, which is the #1 political party in 2022, features right-wing, far-right, conservative, national conservative, right-wing populist, social conservative, nationalist, neo-fascist, post-fascist, nativist, and anti-immigrant views. Spain has its very own far-right political party. Vox is an openly Islamophobic party, which called for the deportations of thousands of Muslim people from Spain, and called for a second Reconquista of Spain. They do this while hiding behind the traditional Spanish Catholic values by saying that they want to reinstate bullfighting and bring back Catholicism. While it's easy to assume that all of these events happened for a purely religious reason, it's important to know that during all of this, it was common to refer to the purity of blood. While many did fight for a solely religious reason, there can also be a very strong argument made that a large portion of people fought for racial purity. And if you ask me, that isn't the best way to love thy neighbour. Respect everyone around you, and thank you for watching. Cool.